My husband told me he was working late on our 5th wedding anniversary. At midnight, I got a DM from a fake account with photos of him sleeping in a hotel room. The caption read, "He chose me." She wanted to hurt me. She wanted to stake her claim. But she made a fatal calculation error. She gave me the evidence I needed to destroy him. By the time the sun came up, my husband's clothes were in garbage bags on the wet lawn. The locks were changed, and I had uncovered a secret that would do a lot more damage than just end our marriage. He thought he was having a fun fling with his 24-year-old assistant. He didn't realize he was handing me the matches to burn his entire life to the ground. Here is how I dismantled my husband's life in 24 hours. To understand why I reacted the way I did, you have to understand the dynamic between my husband, Jason, 32M, and his mentee, Sarah, 24F. Jason works in corporate finance. He's always been the ambitious type, charming, driven, and a little too obsessed with his image. About 6 months ago, Sarah joined his team. Almost immediately, I started hearing her name. At first, it was casual. Sarah had a great idea in the meeting, or I need to help Sarah with these spreadsheets. I didn't mind. I'm a secure woman. I have my own career as a forensic accountant. Remember that detail. It's important later. But then the boundaries started to blur. It started with the phone calls. 9 p.m. on a Tuesday? She's just panicked about a presentation, OP. Relax. Then came the text messages during our date nights. Jason would smile at his screen, type a quick reply, and flip the phone face down. When I asked, he'd roll his eyes. She's new to the city. She doesn't have anyone else. Stop being so jealous. It's unbecoming. The term work wife was introduced at a chaotic company Christmas party 2 months ago. I was standing right next to Jason when Sarah stumbled over, clearly intoxicated, and draped her arm around his neck. She looked me dead in the eye and giggled, "You're the housewife, but I'm the work wife. I honestly think I see him more than you do." Jason laughed. He actually laughed. When we got in the car that night, I exploded. I told him she was disrespectful and crossing a line. Jason gaslit me into oblivion. He told me I was insecure, that she was basically a child, and that I was projecting my own trust issues on a harmless girl who looked up to him. He made me feel crazy. He made me apologize for being suspicious. That brings us to yesterday, our 5th wedding anniversary. I had gone all out. I booked a table at the steakhouse where we had our first date. I bought him a vintage watch he'd been eyeing for years. I was dressed up, sitting in the living room, waiting. At 6:30 p.m., I got the text. Not a call, a text. "Crisis at the firm. The VP is breathing down my neck. I can't leave. I'm so sorry, babe. Make it up to you this weekend. Love you." I was crushed, but I tried to be the supportive wife. I replied, "I understand. Come home when you can. I'll keep dinner warm." I sat on the couch in my silk dress, eating cold takeout, watching the clock tick. 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight. My phone buzzed. It was an Instagram DM request. The account name was generic, something like user 88291, but the profile picture was blank. My stomach dropped. Women have an intuition about these things. I opened the message. It was a photo, high resolution. It showed a man sleeping in a hotel bed, face buried in a pillow. But I knew that back. I knew the mole on the left shoulder blade, and I definitely knew the distinctive tribal tattoo on the upper arm. It was Jason. But the photo wasn't just of him. In the foreground, taking the selfie, was a manicured hand with bright red acrylic nails, holding a glass of champagne. And in the background, thrown carelessly over a chair, was the distinct navy blue blazer Jason had worn to work that morning. The caption was just 3 words, "He chose me." Followed by a second message, "Happy anniversary. You can have the leftovers." I didn't cry. I think I went into shock, and then the shock instantly hardened into a cold, blind rage. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. The supportive wife died in that moment. I zoomed in on the photo. I recognized the headboard. It was the Omni Hotel downtown, the expensive one, the one he said was too pricey for our anniversary dinner. I checked his location on Find My iPhone. It was disabled. Of course it was. I stood up. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a box of heavy-duty black garbage bags, and went upstairs. I didn't neatly fold his clothes. I swept his closet into the bags. Suits, shirts, the shoes he loved more than me, everything went in. I went to the bathroom and dumped his cologne, his razors, and his toothbrush into the trash.
I went to his man cave and unplugged his PS5, throwing it into a bag with tangled cords.
I dragged 6 bags down the stairs. It was 1:30 a.m. I opened the front door. The sprinklers were on. Perfect. I hauled the bags out to the front lawn and dumped them directly in the path of the oscillating sprinkler. His Italian leather loafers, soaking wet. His custom-tailored suits, drenched. I went back inside and locked the door, but I knew he had a key. I Googled 24-hour emergency locksmith. The guy arrived in 40 minutes, looking confused. I paid him triple the rate to change the locks on the front and back doors immediately. I told him my safety is at risk. It wasn't a lie. My mental health was definitely at risk if that man walked back into my house. While the locksmith was drilling, I went back into Jason's home office to pack the last of his things. I was sweeping everything off his desk when I knocked over a stack of files. Underneath them was an iPad. I recognized it. It was his old one, the one he claimed broke a year ago. It was plugged into a charger behind the desk. I pressed the home button. It turned on. He hadn't changed the passcode. 1234. Idiot. The iPad was synced to his iCloud. It was synced to his current phone.
I saw the texts coming in real time. I opened the thread with Sarah Work. My blood ran cold. It wasn't just sex. The messages went back months. But what stopped my heart wasn't the flirting or the nudes. It was what they were saying about me. Sarah, did she buy the working late excuse? Jason, hook, line, and sinker. She's so pathetic. She actually made me a roast. It's sitting on the counter cold right now. She's so desperate. When are you going to leave her? You promised by the summer. I can't yet. Not until the bonus hits the joint account. I need to transfer the funds to the offshore account before I file. If I leave now, she gets half. Just wait a few more weeks, baby. Then we'll have everything. I froze. He wasn't just cheating on me. He was planning to rob me. He was going to drain our life savings, money that I had mostly contributed for my inheritance, and run off with this 24-year-old girl.
I looked at the locksmith who was just finishing up the front door. Sir, I said, my voice surprisingly steady, can you install a deadbolt on the office door too? I sat down in his chair and cracked my knuckles. I'm a forensic accountant. I uncover hidden assets and fraud for a living. Jason thought he was smart hiding money. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I wasn't just going to divorce him. I was going to audit his entire existence. Then the iPad pinged again. A new message. Not from Sarah. From Mom. Mom, did you tell her you're at the hotel? Make sure you use the company card so it doesn't show up on your personal statement. You know how she watches the money. Give Sarah a kiss for me. I dropped the iPad. His mother knew. His own mother was coaching him on how to cheat on me and hide the money. It was 4 a.m. I poured myself a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and started downloading every bank statement, every text message, and every photo. The war had begun, and Jason was sleeping through the opening shots. I didn't sleep. I spent the hours between 4 a.m. and sunrise building a spreadsheet that would serve as Jason's coffin. At 7:15 a.m., the motion sensor on my Ring doorbell chimed. I pulled up the live feed on my phone. It was pathetic. Jason was stumbling up the driveway, still wearing yesterday's clothes. His tie was loose, his shirt was untucked, and he looked like he had the hangover from hell. He stopped when he saw the lawn. There were 6 black garbage bags, glistening in the morning sun. The sprinklers had done their job. The bags weren't tied tightly, so I could see the sleeve of his $800 Armani suit soaking in a puddle of mud. He looked confused. He walked up to the front door and jammed his key into the lock. It didn't turn. He tried again. He jiggled it. He stepped back, looked at the house number to make sure he was at the right place, and tried a third time. Then he started pounding. I didn't open the door. I pressed the talk button on the app. My voice boomed out of the doorbell speaker, crisp and metallic. The locks are changed, Jason. Your stuff is on the lawn. Whatever didn't fit in the bags is in the trash. He jumped. He looked directly into the camera lens, his eyes wide. OP, what the hell is going on? Open the door. Have you lost your mind? I saw the photos, Jason, I said calmly, and I saw the texts.
And I saw the plan to steal my inheritance. His face went pale. That was the moment he knew. He didn't try to deny the affair immediately. Instead, he went straight for the gaslighting. Babe, listen, you're misunderstanding. It's a prank. The guys at the office, they hacked my phone. It's AI. You know how realistic that stuff is now. Does the AI also explain why your mother told you to use the company card so I wouldn't see the hotel charge?
Go to Sarah's, I said, although she might not want you when she finds out the joint account is empty. I cut the feed. See, while he was banging on the door, I had already executed the most important move. Jason mentioned in his texts that he was waiting for his annual bonus to hit our joint account before transferring everything offshore. He thought he was smart. But I'm a forensic accountant. I know banking regulations better than he knows his own wife. I knew that because the account was joint, I had 100% legal access to it. At 5 a.m., I had logged in. I didn't just take my share. I transferred every single cent, our savings, the house fund, and the emergency fund, into a separate account at a different bank that I opened online minutes prior. I left him with $12.43. Jason's phone started blowing up mine. Texts, calls, voicemails. You can't do this.
That's theft. I'm calling the police. I texted him one screenshot, the text message where he explicitly stated his intent to hide assets and defraud me in the divorce. I added a caption. Go ahead, call the police. I'd love to show them this thread. He stopped texting. But the war wasn't over. I had secured my money, but I needed to secure my future. And for that, I needed to look at the other finances. I still had his iPad. I logged into his American Express portal. He had been so careful to hide the charges from our personal accounts, but he was lazy with the corporate card. I downloaded the last 12 months of statements. It was a goldmine of evidence. June 12th, client dinner at Nobu, $600. June 12th, metadata from his phone, selfie with Sarah at Nobu.
July 4th, travel expense, conference, hotel room in Miami. July 4th, texts confirm he took Sarah to Miami for the long weekend while telling me he was at a leadership retreat. August 15th, a $3,200 charge at Tiffany & Co., labeled client gift. I remember that week. I saw Sarah wearing a Tiffany bracelet. I foolishly complimented it. She smirked and said, "My boyfriend has great taste." Jason was embezzling. He was using company funds to fund his affair. In my line of work, we call this misappropriation of assets, and it is a fireable offense. Usually, it involves jail time if the amount is high enough. I tallied it up, over $45,000 in 6 months. I created a PDF dossier. Exhibit A, the credit card statement. Exhibit B, the text messages confirming the dates and the nature of the meetings. Exhibit C, the photos from Sarah's Instagram, which I found via a burner account, matching the locations and dates. I saved the file as jason_embezzlementevidence.pdf. Around noon, my phone rang. It was my mother-in-law, Linda. I knew this call was coming. Jason had run to Mommy. I answered on the first ring. "Hello, Linda." "You are a vindictive, hateful woman," she spat. "No hello, no how are you. Jason is sitting here in my kitchen crying. How dare you lock him out of his own home? How dare you steal his money? He was cheating on me, Linda, with a 24-year-old, and you knew." "Oh, grow up," she screamed. "Men have needs. You've been working so much lately, neglecting him. Sarah treats him like a king. She respects him. You've always been too independent." My hand gripped the phone so tight my knuckles turned white. "So that justifies him stealing my inheritance? You told him to hide the money, Linda. I have the texts. You wouldn't dare show those to anyone. We are family." "Not anymore," I said. "And by the way, I hope you're ready to support him financially, because I drained the accounts, and I'm about to make sure he never works in finance again." "You're bluffing," she sneered. "Jason is a top performer. His company loves him." "We'll see," I said. Check his email in about an hour. I hung up and blocked her number. I was about to send the email to his boss when I got a notification from TikTok. Sarah. She had posted 20 minutes ago. The video showed her standing in my kitchen. It must have been taken a few days ago when I was at a conference. She was wearing my personalized apron. She was cooking eggs. The caption read, "Making breakfast for Bae. Wifey duties greater than wife duties. #upgrade, #he chose me." She was mocking me. She had been in my house, wearing my clothes, cooking on my stove, and now she was bragging about it to the world.
That was the final straw. I wasn't just going to get Jason fired, I was going to make sure Sarah went down with him. I opened my email client. I composed a new message. To james.sterling@company.com, the VP of Finance. CC, HR Director at company.com. Subject, formal complaint regarding embezzlement and fraternization, Jason last name and Sarah last name. I attached the PDF. I attached the Ring camera video of him admitting to the affair, and I attached the TikTok link. I took a deep breath. My finger hovered over the send button. "Happy anniversary, Jason," I whispered. I clicked send. I hit send at 12:45 p.m. Jason's company, Sterling & Associates, prides itself on two things: fiscal integrity and family values. It's a boutique firm. The VP, James, is a man I've known for years. He was actually a guest at our wedding. He's a good man who hates two things: liars and thieves. I didn't have to wait long. At 1:15 p.m., Jason texted me from his mother's phone. "I'm going into the office to clear my head and talk to James about a leave of absence. We need to talk tonight. Unblock me." He had no idea. He actually thought he could just waltz in there and spin a narrative before I did. He thought he was walking into a sanctuary. He was walking into a slaughterhouse. I didn't reply. Instead, I drove to the coffee shop across the street from his office building. It has a massive glass window that looks directly at the main entrance. I ordered a black coffee and waited. According to a friend of mine who works in HR at the firm, let's call her Jessica, here is what happened inside the building. Jason swiped his badge at the turnstile. It beeped red. Access denied. He tried again. Red. He walked over to the security guard, a guy he's known for 5 years, laughing, saying his card must be demagnetized. The guard didn't laugh back. He looked down at a clipboard and said, "Mr. Sterling wants to see you. I have to escort you up." Jason was escorted to the glass-walled conference room on the 4th floor. He wasn't brought there to chat. He was brought there to be terminated. Jessica texted me the play-by-play. "James is screaming. I can hear him through the glass. He just threw a stack of papers on the table. Pretty sure it's your PDF." Jason tried to deny it. He tried to say the receipts were legitimate business expenses. Then James played the audio. I had included the voice notes from Jason's burner phone, where he explicitly laughed about charging the anniversary hotel to the company account. "That's fraud, Jason," James reportedly said. "You're fired, effective immediately, and you're lucky if we don't press criminal charges." Then came the kicker. James called Sarah in. She walked in confident, probably thinking she was getting a promotion or that Jason had finally claimed her publicly. James slid a piece of paper across the desk. It was the company policy on fraternization, specifically the clause about subordinates and superiors. "You're done too," James said. "Pack your things. Security will escort you both out." At 2:30 p.m., I saw them. The revolving doors spun and out they came. Jason, holding a small cardboard box, looking like he'd been punched in the gut. Sarah, trailing behind him, crying, holding her purse. They stood on the sidewalk arguing. I saw Sarah gesture wildly. She shoved Jason. He tried to grab her arm, and she pulled away. I took a sip of my coffee. It was the best cup of coffee I've ever tasted. The next 48 hours were a blur of legal paperwork. I filed for divorce immediately, citing adultery and financial dissipation. My lawyer, a shark named Rebecca, froze all remaining assets. But the real drama was happening at Jason's mom's house. Since I had Jason's iPad, I could still see the texts coming through to his iCloud account. Sarah: "What do you mean the accounts are frozen? Jason, my rent is due on Tuesday." Jason: "My mom can lend us some money. Just hang tight, babe. Once the divorce is finalized, I'll get half to house equity." I laughed out loud. He still didn't get it.
In our state, if you spend marital assets on an affair, dissipation, that amount is deducted from your share of the settlement. Between the $45,000 on the credit cards and the drained savings I had legally secured, his equity in the house was effectively zero. 3 days later, the tone of the texts changed. Sarah, I can't believe this. You promised me a lifestyle, Jason. You said you were rich. You're a broke loser living in your mom's basement. Jason, don't speak to me like that. I lost my job for you.
You lost your job because you're an idiot who got caught. I'm done. Don't contact me. And just like that, the love of his life, the woman he destroyed our marriage for, was gone. She didn't love him. She loved the Nobu dinners and the Tiffany bracelets. Once the credit card was cut off, so was the romance. But Sarah had one last card to play, a card I didn't see coming. A week later, I was meeting with my lawyer when Jason's lawyer called. He wanted an emergency meeting. We sat in the conference room. Jason looked terrible. He hadn't shaved, he had lost weight, and he wouldn't look me in the eye. His lawyer cleared his throat. My client is willing to sign over the house and the full 401k, the lawyer said, but he needs cash, immediately. Why? My lawyer asked. Why the urgency? Jason looked up, tears in his eyes.
Sarah is pregnant, he whispered. She sent me the test this morning. She says if I don't give her $20,000 for medical expenses and support right now, she's going to blast the story on social media and ruin my reputation even more. I felt a pit in my stomach. A baby. If there was a child involved, this would get messy. It would tie Jason to her forever. But then, my forensic brain kicked in. I thought about the dates. I thought about the texts I had read on the iPad, not just between Jason and Sarah, but texts Sarah had sent to other numbers that had synced when she plugged her phone into Jason's laptop to charge it weeks ago. I remembered a thread with a guy named Jim Brad. Jason, I said, leaning forward, show me the positive test. He slid his phone over. It was a photo of a stick with 2 lines. Date stamp? I asked.
Yesterday, he said. Jason, I said slowly, you've been sleeping in your mother's basement for 10 days. Before that, you were on a business trip to Chicago for 4 days, alone, because I checked the flight logs. When was the last time you actually slept with her? He counted on his fingers. 2 weeks ago, before the anniversary. Okay, I said. And did you know that Sarah has been seeing a personal trainer named Brad and a guy from the Jasonating department named Dave? Jason's jaw dropped. No, she said I was the only one. We were soulmates. I pulled up the screenshot I had saved from the iPad sync. It was a text from Sarah to Jim Brad, dated 3 weeks ago. Sarah, Jason is such a bore. Can't wait to come over tonight. He thinks I'm working late. The room went silent. Jason looked like he was going to vomit. I'm not giving you cash for her, I told him, but I will pay for one thing, a prenatal paternity test, non-invasive. We can do it tomorrow. Jason nodded slowly. He looked broken. The realization that he had blown up his marriage, his career, and his life for a woman who was mocking him to her gym trainer was finally sinking in.
We scheduled the test for the next day. I wanted to be there. I wanted to see the look on Sarah's face when the work-wife facade finally crumbled completely. The waiting room of the paternity clinic was dead silent. On one side, there was Jason and his mother, Linda. Linda was glaring at me, still convinced this was somehow my fault, mumbling about how I had driven him to this. On the other side sat Sarah. She looked different. No makeup, wearing sweatpants. She wouldn't look at Jason. She was scrolling on her phone, looking bored. When the nurse called us back, the tension was thick enough to choke on. The test we had ordered was a NIP, non-invasive prenatal paternity test. It's expensive but highly accurate, and I paid for the expedited results. We weren't there to take the test. We were there to get the envelope. The doctor sat us down. He held a manila folder. We compared the fetal DNA found in Miss Sarah's blood sample against Mr. Jason Sterling's DNA profile, he stated in a monotone voice. Jason leaned forward, his hands shaking. He wanted it to be his. I could see it in his eyes. If the baby was his, he still had a family. He still had a reason for all the destruction he caused. It would validate the affair. The doctor opened the folder.
The probability of paternity is 0.0%. Jason made a sound I've never heard a human make. It was like a balloon deflating. Linda gasped. That's impossible. She said... I looked at Sarah. She didn't cry. She didn't look shocked. She just rolled her eyes and stood up. Well, she said, grabbing her purse. Worth a shot? Jason stood up, his chair scraping violently against the floor. Worth a shot? Worth a shot? He screamed. I lost my job for you. I lost my wife. I'm living in a basement. Sarah turned at the door, her face cold and hard. The bubbly, innocent mentee mask was gone. You were a Jason, she said. You were an easy target. You wanted to feel like a big man, and I let you. But you're broke now. And honestly, you were terrible in bed. She walked out. Jason collapsed back into the chair and put his head in his hands. He started to sob. Not a manly cry, a heaving, pathetic sob. I stood up. I smoothed out my skirt. I looked at Linda. He's all yours now, Linda. I hope he was worth it. I walked out of the clinic and into the sunshine. I felt lighter than I had in years. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Because of the evidence of financial dissipation, the money spent on the affair, and the infidelity, the judge was not lenient with Jason. I kept the house. I kept 100% of my retirement. I kept the dog. Jason got his car, which still had payments on it, and his personal debt. Where is everyone now? She didn't get away scot-free. Remember the embezzlement dossier I sent to the company? The company didn't just fire them. They sued for damages. Sarah is currently being garnished to pay back the unauthorized travel expenses. She moved back to her hometown. Rumor has it the baby turned out to be Jim Brad's, and he wants nothing to do with her. She blocked me on everything, but I heard she's working as a receptionist at a car dealership. He's still living with his mother. The finance world is small. When you get fired for embezzlement and fraud, you get blacklisted. He can't get a job in banking. Last I heard, he's working as a shift manager at a logistics warehouse. It's honest work, but it certainly doesn't pay for Armani suits or trips to Miami. He emails me once a month, usually late at night, usually drunk. I made a mistake. I miss you. She meant nothing. I never reply. They go straight to a folder labeled trash. As for me, I took the money I saved from the joint account rescue and renovated the house. I turned Jason's man cave into a library. I painted over the beige walls with bold colors. The house feels like mine now. I also got a promotion. It turns out efficiently dismantling a fraudulent scheme in 24 hours is a great resume booster for a forensic accountant. I'm dating again. He's a lawyer. He's kind, he communicates, and he hates social media. On our first date, he told me he had to work late. I felt that old panic rise up. Then he pulled out his phone, shared his location with me, and said, "Here, so you know I'm not at a hotel." He didn't know my story. He was just a decent human being. Yesterday was what would have been my 6th wedding anniversary with Jason. I was sitting on my patio, drinking wine, when I got a notification. It was Instagram. The fake account, the one Sarah used to send me the photo that started it all, was active again. I opened the DM. It was a message from Sarah. Just text this time, no photo. He won't stop calling me. Tell him to leave me alone. You win. I looked at the message. I thought about blocking it, but I couldn't resist one final petty moment. I typed back, "I didn't win. I just returned the trash. He chose you, remember? Happy anniversary." I hit block. I put my phone down, and I went inside to have dinner with a man who actually comes home on time.